Well, hey, Vision. Okay, I need you to pull out your phone. Get your phone out because we gotta find something. Okay, get your phone out. Turn that thing, unlock that thing. Go to your phone and go to your contacts. Okay, I need you to do that right now. You got your phone. Go to your contacts. Scroll down to the R's. Okay, find the R's. Look in there for me because I need some help. See if you have any Rons in there. In fact, I need Ron Rivera. Okay, if you got Ron Rivera in there. Now I've got a couple Rons in here. You got Ron? Anybody here got Ron Rivera, the coach of the Panthers? Because I got some Rons in here. I mean, one of the Rons is running the cornhole tournament today. That's pretty cool. Let's see, another Ron. Him and his wife, they donated hot dogs. Saw that. And then I got another Ron who's a Duke fan. Some others in here. But any Ron Rivera? Nobody's got his number. Okay. Because with Ron Rivera, he's coach of the Panthers. Many of us are Panthers fans, so we know that name a little bit. But when you look at your phone, you don't find it. And I don't find it. Because this guy, Ron, he gets to hang out with cool guys like Cam. Okay, and if you heard about Cam Newton, and he's trading in the dab for something new this fall, so he will be unveiling that. Of course, Coach Ron, the NFL Coach of the Year, Coach Ron, who when he goes to work on Sundays in the fall, there's tens of thousands of people that come and watch him. This Coach Ron, that when he's on the sidelines, normally he's got a guy next to him carrying the wires for his headset. Now, I was really disappointed this week when I was doing my research because I realized in the NFL, I think they've gone wireless, okay? So they don't have the headset guy anymore. Now, in college, they do, but in the pros, now it's all wireless. So there used to be a guy who would follow him around on the sidelines carrying the wire. I mean, you talk about a cool job, man. You go into NFL games, and all you have to do is carry the wire that's plugged in to Coach Ron. So what if I was that guy? What if I was the guy, you go turn on the game, you're watching, you're like, look, there's Matt down there on the sideline. He's the headset guy with Coach Ron. I said, yeah, we're tight, man. I carry his wire. And sometimes I bring him his pregame meal, whatever he likes, I bring him that. Or maybe sometimes I'm his driver. I drive him around town. And you say, okay, well, what else do you know about Coach Ron? I said, well, I don't have his number. I thought you were tight. I thought you were connected to him. So, man, I'm just a headset guy. We're not like friends. We're not like really close. So when the weekend comes, if I got his number, made from Cam, I bummed it off of him in the locker room, said, Cam, can I get Ron's number? And I call him up, and Ron's like, who's this? I said, it's Matt. He's like, Matt who? I said, Matt, the headset guy. Oh, okay, yeah. He said, man, it's not game day. We don't need to talk. I said, man, can I come over and hang in the pool? He's like, no, man, you're just the headset guy, okay? We don't like hang out together. So Ron, I'd like to be tight. You're friends. And he just gives me this look like, well, Matt, we're here. We're not tight. And God, I'll say, he looks at us a lot of times, and he doesn't want us to be like the headset guy. Okay, he doesn't want us just to kind of hang out with him in different spots and just do a couple little things and not like have his number and not have a friendship that goes both ways. God wants us to be close and to be connected. And this series, we've been going through this book, and we've got 4 free copies left. So if you're new here, you'll see on the table in the lobby this book, Secrets of the Vine, which I have been so encouraged because I've been watching on Facebook, seeing people posting from the beach, posting from their front porch, they're reading stuff, they're pulling stuff out, that Jesus, when he spoke in John 15 about the vine, that he was talking about us not being content being the headset guy, about not being somebody who just kind of, is at a distance from God, but is close. And so with this series, as we wrap it up today, and if you're new, it's your first time, I encourage you to get a copy of the book. It's free. It's our gift to you. And now you got plenty of time to read it because there's no church next Sunday. Okay, so you can have 2 weeks now to catch up because this book has been teaching me some things about getting closer to God. It really has impacted me. And so as we unpack the last part today, part 4, I encourage you to get your takeaway card out, or if you got your smartphone, like normal, you can go to YouVersion and click events and find today's service right now and save it, and you've got the takeaway card on there. Now, here at Vision, again, I want this to be a catalyst in your week and literally in your summer, that your summer can be different and can be better because you're spending time with God in a way that brings him from here up closer. So as we dig into this, as we take a look and think about Jesus' teachings, in John 15, Remember, he was in his last week of his life. He was in the last night of his life talking to his close guys. And we've taken his talk, and each week we have a phrase or a word we're looking at. The first week, our phrase kind of revolved around, connecting and having fruit, and that caused impact. We said, okay, that's our overview. How do we get there? In week 2, we talked about being cleaned, about God looks at our life and says, honestly, there's sin in there that distances us. And I want to clean that, kind of like a vine dresser goes into a vineyard and takes fruit that is literally, it's falling on the ground, getting dirt and mold in it, and that vine dresser cleans it so it can be more fruitful. God says, I want to do that with you. Last week, we talked about pruning and how you take this fruit and prune out the little pieces so that bigger, better fruit in there can flourish. And I want that in my life. So I hope as you hear today's message, as we talk about this final piece that we're calling abiding or connecting or remaining or having a relationship or a friendship, this abiding piece, I hope it strikes something in you that you say, man, I do want to be closer to God. I'm not sure what exactly that means, or maybe I used to be there or I've never been there, but I want to be closer to God. And that takes us to our bottom line for today. It comes from this book. We've been pulling these secrets out of there. And the third secret of the vine, our final bottom line, is that if your life bears a lot of fruit, God's going to do something. He's going to take a step. He's going to invite you to abide more deeply with him. If you literally have more of this fruit that shows that you're one with God, because fruit displays what's in that tree or that vine. So just like in our life, the things we display, honestly, they display the person we follow, the person who leads us. So you might ask the question, well, why would I want to abide? Why would I want to have fruit? Now, I got my life. It's going okay. God says, listen, abiding with me is the most important thing you'll ever do. So that when you get in your dark hour, I'm there. So that when you have fear, I'm there. When you don't know the right way to go, he said, I'm the one who gives wisdom. I'm there with you. He said, you feel powerless? I'm the one who created power. I'm the one who has power. I want to give you power. I want you to abide with me so I can pour these things into you. Well, how about this fruit? This fruit, kind of twofold. There's these fruit of the Spirit. Remember these peace and joy and self-control and these things where people would look at you and say, look, I see something different in you. Why do you serve like that? Why do you care about people like that? Why are you generous? I mean, like Bill was talking about, being a person who doesn't just absorb, but shares. So why do you do that? So I'll say that's fruit in my life of the person that I follow. Or maybe it's even as simple as taking a card and giving it to somebody saying, God's doing something in our church. Would you love to come and try that out? You share your faith in small or big ways. That's fruit. Well, this fruit, if you're not bearing fruit, man, how can I change? How can I truly bear fruit? I'll say it comes from time. It comes from spending time with God in a way that cannot be manufactured. It's not checking something off a list. It's kind of like with Ron Rivera. I can't just carry his headset around and say we're tight. It's going to come from face-to-face relationship time. So let's talk about this connection. If you went in that vineyard and saw the vine come out of the ground and it connects to a branch, the branch with the most fruit is the one that has the best connection. And Bruce in here, he talks about the circumference of a branch. It's the only thing that sap can go through. So the wider the circumference, the more nutrients go from the vine to the branch. And I know in my life, I want that. I don't want just a little bit. I want to feel God's power in my life. But there's a flip side to this. There's an enemy. And when we come in church and talk about God's love and God's peace and all these things he could pour into us, that is the great news. That's incredible news. I mean, the guy that I invited and he came at 9 o'clock, he needed great news today and he got that. And there's an enemy that comes against us. There's an enemy that when Jesus was in that vineyard talking to his 11 guys, he said, guys, now listen, I'm getting ready to leave, but there's somebody who still kind of rules this earth, and he's always going to be after you. No matter what age you are, no matter where you're at in school, no matter where you're going in life, he's after you. I mean, he looks you in the eye and said, you're so cute, and I hate you. He says that. The enemy is real. In fact, Jesus, when he talked about this enemy, he cast a vision in these guys and said, you have to always be aware of this enemy. So that Peter, one of the 11, he soaked this in. And when he wrote a couple letters to say, guys, here's what Jesus was talking about, he talked about this enemy. So take a look in Peter. We'll have it on the screen or on your takeaway. But Peter, he wrote and said, be alert and of sober mind. So the first thing he's saying is like, don't fall asleep. Don't get lazy. Don't get so complacent that you think that just because you're walking with God and you're connected, that you're okay, because somebody is working against that. Every minute that you breathe, he's working against that. Peter said, be sober, be alert and of sober mind. Your enemy, the devil, he prowls around. He's like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour. You say, not my kids. I mean, they're small and they're cute. Yes, exactly, your kids. Parents, he's coming after your kids. He's coming after your marriage. If you're single, he's coming after your purity. He's coming after your finances, that you would dishonor God with the way you manage your money or your time. The enemy is always coming after you. It says, resist him, standing firm in the faith, because you know that the family of believers throughout the world are undergoing the same kind of sufferings. As this is why we have to come together and encourage one another to say, how's your week been? Man, I've been feeling it. I've been feeling the enemy come after me. Well, then let's get shoulder to shoulder and help each other with that. And again, it doesn't happen in rows. We say here, vision, it happens in circles, where we get together face to face with each other. So let's help each other against this enemy. Because our enemy, I promise you, he'll do anything he can to take that connection from the vine to the branch, and he will try to disrupt it. He'll try to tear it up. He will try to get in your mind, and you'll say, he was in my mind this week. You say, man, I'm glad nobody can read my mind right now, because the things I thought, or the things I did, or the attacks that came, man, that enemy, he was after me. I say, we're with you. We're not going to kick you out because of that. We want to walk with you through that. So this enemy, this devil, saying, wait, the way the world portrays him with kind of this, a pitchfork and, well, all the people that party, they'll go to hell and have a party together. He's a lion. He's more like kind of like a lion cub, right? He's like the one that you'd see and say, oh, isn't that cute? And you kind of nudge your kid and you're like, that's so cute. We'd love to have one of those. And Peter's like, no, that's not it. He's the lion that when you walk out in your backyard at night and something comes around the corner that is ferocious in your face, that literally wants to catch you and kill you and tear you apart, that's not a lion cub. That's a lion that is intent on damage and on death. And Peter said, that's the enemy. That's the one trying to disconnect you from God. And I believe Peter in that. And when you look in the Bible, and you can go throughout the Bible seeing times when God's people were attacked, and there's a guy named Daniel. And this guy Daniel in the Old Testament, he had a connection with God. In fact, when he was growing up, and he was originally raised to love God, and then he was basically kidnapped, taken to another country, brainwashed. They tried to change him and tear away his faith system. But he said, no, I will remain connected. This is way before Jesus. He hadn't heard the sermon about the vine, but Daniel understood what it meant to be connected to God, so much so that he prayed to him multiple times in his day. And I'm not talking God, thanks for the food. It was God, I need you against the enemy who's coming against me. So that when a time came in Daniel's life, when they said, you can't pray to him, you can't connect with God for a month. And Daniel's like, wait a second. I have to stay connected with God. I have to be connected to this vine. But the king got tricked. And the king signed a decree that would forevermore change Daniel's life. Check out his story. Wow. You hear King Cyrus, man, your God is real. Your God is real. When you're connected with him like Daniel was, your God's real. Yeah, you hug that little Daniel over there. We got one in here. And said, man, that's who you're named after. A guy with that type of spiritual history, that he was that connected to God. How do you get there? How do you get that connected? A relationship like that comes from trust. And we know that. Any good relationship we have has to have trust. Trust in God is built through faith. So what I like to do is bring up a couple friends of mine who they've been growing. They've had some opportunities to grow in faith. So if you would welcome John and Whitney Schneider. They come on up to the stage here. Because when God, he wants to be close to us. And John and Whitney, I appreciate you guys come up here to talk about where you're at with God. And they don't have it all figured out, just like Daniel didn't have it all figured out. But when you talk about being connected to God and there's trust in that relationship, I see that happening in you guys. I do. So, y'all, I know you started coming last fall to Vision. And so tell us, how are you guys connected here in our church? And what do you like about Vision so far?
I'm John. I play in the band with Praise and Worship. I'm the bass player. I also play in the Ignition band with the guys over there. Um, like Matt said, we've been here since fall, and it's been an amazing ride. Um, the thing I like most about Vision, other than everybody in here is real, because what you see in here is what they are outside in the real world. Um, Whitney and I, Tuesday, will be married for 2 years, and watching her grow and watching myself grow is just been unbelievable. I was talking to Mike after the first service, and he said, just watching you guys grow is amazing, and it's real. You know, we really do grow. You learn so much every Sunday. It's not the same thing. It's totally different every Sunday. It's amazing.
I'm Whitney. I do all those screens and behind the scenes stuff. Like I was telling Keith in the first service, I don't like people. That's why.
Does it make you nervous?
I stay in the back and you see what I do and you don't see me. No, I've never wanted to switch churches. There was times I would not go to any church and he would come here because I didn't know which one to go to. But I like it here to the point. I mean, like John said, everybody's real. When I come here, I feel like I'm at home and I feel like I don't have to, hide my face. I can, be myself a little bit more and don't have to be, calm and because I'm not half the time. And it also does feel good that, I can come here and I can, I can be normal. I can dress how I want, do what I want. As a pastor's granddaughter, I always had to dress up in a dress every Sunday and every Wednesday, and I do not like dresses. So coming here is like amazing. It's home pretty much now.
Good. Well, I've definitely seen God working in y'all's life. I've enjoyed conversations the last couple months. And I know one way he's been, I think, trying to build your trust in him is through your finances. And it sounds like he challenged you, and it sounds like he's done some things. So what have you guys seen there?
Well, when me and John both were younger, we were forced to tithe. If I didn't tithe, being the pastor's granddaughter, I would either get my butt whooped when I got home or I'd get fussed at on the way home. But no, at our old church that we went to, it was just the fact of John would get phone calls at work because he played in the band there. He would get phone calls at work telling him that if he doesn't tithe, he can't volunteer anymore. At that point, we were physically and financially not able to tithe because we were living on $50 for 2 weeks after paying everything. And if we didn't pay anything, something was going to happen. And then in February, Michael, that plays guitar, had a car for us because my car was out of it. And then John told me pretty much, go back to school or get a job. I got my car on Valentine's Day, and on the 18th, I had an interview. So I got a job, and then we had tithed, I think, 2 weeks for the first time, 2 weeks before I got my job. And then I got my job, and then shortly later, John got him a new job, making twice as much as he was, which is helping us out a lot. And then we started tithing, and then he got a new truck, and we knew that it needed some things fixed in it. And then so we were saving up for that and saving up to move out. And we almost had all the money that we needed, and he wrecked his good truck. So I was like, okay, well, so there goes the downhill of the roller coaster, and we started heading back up. So we put that truck in the shop, and $500 quote ended up being $40 out of the shop the next day. So that was up, and then now, we just got word a couple months back. We were supposed to be out of our house by the end of August. We live with my stepmom, and we found out a month ago that her sister's moving in. So now we have until August 1st to move out, and we're stepping up a little bit on the saving. I've never been the person to ask anybody for money. I mean, even if it was $20 to buy sandwiches and stuff, I would cry my eyes out to ask for it. And now I'm just like, why do I even need to ask? I just feel like we're going to provide, and now we're halfway there. So.
Okay, and then, John, what do you think about for other people who are looking to take a faith step? Whether it's giving, serving, inviting, whatever it looks like, but that they feel God kind of poke them at the heart saying, come on, trust me, grow in me. But, that's tough. That's scary. So what word of encouragement would you give somebody for a step of faith?
My word of encouragement is I'm always reminded by one of my favorite movies is Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. When Indiana is on his mission to get the Holy Grail, he is towards the end of the movie. He's faced with a ravine that doesn't have any way to get across, and after all the suspense and all the drama, he just steps out, and lo and behold, the bridge is there. And that's all you got to do. Is you just got to step out. Whether you want to be involved in the band or the care team or the host team, or even accept Jesus as your Savior. You just got to do it, and it's so simple. And I wish I'd known what I know now and started so much earlier. But like I said, you just got to do it, and it's so simple and so easy.
All right. Well, let's thank these guys for sharing their story today. Appreciate that. Because Bruce, in the book, he makes this statement about knowing God. And think about this when hopefully you come across this chapter and you read it. He says, I'd become an expert at serving God, but somehow remained a novice at being his friend. So maybe you can check it off the list and say, well, I check it off and I read or pray or serve or give. Those are all things that have to be attached to a relationship. You can't just be great at doing things, checking them off, and be a novice or inexperienced at being a friend with God. In the Psalms, it talks about this desire, this want for being with God. And I think about this week, I was out at the ranch we're making this fire pit, and I was kind of chopping out some of these holes, and oh man, it was hot. And I was thinking, man, if somebody would bring me a drink, I would love to have a cold drink. And in Psalms, it says, as the deer pants or longs or desires streams of water, so my soul pants for you, my God. The same way I want that water, that's the way God wants us to want to connect with him. My soul thirsts for God, for the living God. Where can I go and meet with God? He said, let's be friends. He said, your next faith step, it might be giving, maybe not. Maybe it's serving. Maybe it's sharing your faith. Maybe it's just actually really opening your Bible this week and reading something. Maybe it's sitting down to pray and it not being the thanks for the food prayer, but it being a God, talk to me. I want to hear you. God, here's what I'm thinking. Here's what I'm feeling in my heart kind of prayer. And God looks at us the same way he looked at Daniel. Understand, Daniel in the Bible is no superhero. That's just another person who's just connected with God. So you have a chance, and I have a chance to connect with him and not be, like a headset guy for Ron Rivera. To not be somebody who doesn't have a phone number, who's held out here, who could actually have a relationship of closeness, of abiding, of remaining, of connecting. So that I could, walk into the stadium and be like, Ron. He's like, Matt. Hey, we went to the thing this weekend and did that. And there's a friendship in the same way that God, he wants that friendship with us. I love that because, again, when you think about your week and the things you thought about, the things you did or the things you didn't do, God's not worried about that. He wants to have that friendship close. He wants to have that abiding and remaining.